So today's guest, she's from Real World Back to San Diego and MTV's Challenge Battle of the Seasons. She's a challenge champ, Sam McGinn. Thank you for joining me today, Sam.
Absolutely, Mike. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too. So talk to me a little bit about your casting process and how you kind of got into the real world.
So my casting process was, I think, a little bit different than most of the cast members. There was a open casting call that was actually in my hometown, and I didn't want to go, but my best friend at the time wanted to go. So I just went with her, like, to support her and her, endeavor. And then I actually made it all the way through, but I tried out for season 25, which was the Real World Back to Las Vegas. So it was the season before mine. And then when it came down to like picking cast members and things like that, I wasn't old enough to be able to live in a casino in Las Vegas. So they kept me and sent me to finals for the following season. And then that's how I ended up getting cast. So, I mean, I started my process about a year and some change before I actually moved into the house.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a location preference going into it, like kind of where you hoped you guys would be staying?
I did. I wanted to go to Australia. I wanted to, because I knew that they were doing a bunch of like the back two seasons.
Yeah.
And I really wanted them to do like a back two Real World Sydney, and yeah. I was so pumped. And then actually, when they asked in my final interview, they asked me where I thought I was going, and I was like, Sydney, and they were like, a little bit closer. I was like, okay, Hawaii, trying to think of those, and they're like, a little. I was in LA, mind you, like a little bit closer. I'm like, just tell me. And when they told me San Diego, I was like, dude, I just went there last summer for a family vacation. Like, cool. But right. It turned out to be all right.
Mm-hmm. So obviously, they kind of assign you guys like who you're meeting up with first going to the house, and you were meeting up with Zach. So who did you kind of first resonate with the most, you'd say, upon entering the house?
Upon entering the house, it was kind of, we really all spent time together. The first 2 days or so, we were really all together. We didn't pair off or anything like that too early, just because we were trying to get a feel of the situation. We were all getting used to cameras being on us 24/7. We were getting used to living in like a dorm style room because there's 2 or 3 of us to a room, and but right after that, I hit it off with Frank right off the bat, and he and I got very close, super quick.
Mm-hmm. Was it kind of difficult? Obviously, because Priscilla was on that season and she was underage. So when you guys were like going out and clubbing and stuff, how did that kind of play a factor into what you guys would do?
Well, I don't know if you've ever been to San Diego, but almost, I'd say 99.9% of the places in San Diego, you have to be 21. There was 1 bar or 2 bars that she could go to, and one of them was called like Off Broadway or something like that. But they were so strict that in the like where the DJs and everything were, where like everybody was dancing and all that, you couldn't have alcohol. Alcohol was on like this side of the club, and then if you wanted to go over and dance with everybody, you had to finish your drink and then go in.
Oh wow!
So it was a process, and we went out with her a couple of times, but a lot of the times we didn't go out with her. So I kind of felt bad, but at the same time, it was her prerogative to try out for the show at the age of 19. It's not mine. You did that kind of for yourself.
Right. Yeah. So were you a fan of the challenge prior to coming on?
I actually was a huge fan of the challenge. I had never really seen the Real World. I've seen like episodes here and there, but literally like every week that it was on, some of my best friends and I would get together and actually watch it.
Wow.
And I was always thinking to myself, I was like, yeah, that would be so cool. That would be so cool. And when I actually made it onto the Real World, that thought didn't even like cross my mind until it was over. And I was like, oh crap, now I can actually fulfill that dream of being on a show that I've watched for so long.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome, because I mean, at least it hits home with me that a lot of my friends actually aren't like too aware or like familiar with the challenge because they don't actually have like reruns and stuff on MTV. Like they just have the live episodes, and then that's pretty much that. Everything else is social media, YouTube related, where you could watch it, or even on like Amazon Prime and that kind of stuff. They kind of get shafted a little bit to ridiculousness and catfish.
That's exactly what I was about to say, dude. I can't. The amount of episodes of ridiculousness that gets aired on daytime MTV is insanity.
Insane.
Like the amount of, especially right now in a pandemic, if you did, I mean, the challenge seasons are what, 13 or 14 episodes long, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole day.
Yeah.
I'm not saying every day, but start at season 1 and be like, okay, this Monday, when it's not prime time,
right.
slots. Put on old episodes of Road Rules. Put on old episodes of The Challenge. Put that kind of stuff on. Because if I see one more episode of the same episode of ridiculousness, I'm gonna fight Rob Deerdeck. It's gonna happen.
That
right
might
through my television.
Get you in the octagon with him.
He's shorter than I am.
There you go. You got one leg up on him.
Something.
Yeah, they should definitely make a conscious effort to kind of at least make like a schedule. If you want to put ridiculousness on like most of the time, like they could definitely set like certain days like where they have ridiculousness on. At least incorporate some challenge in because I think it's
Oh yeah, they get a lot. I think that they would get a lot more viewers. Shoot, yeah. I'd rather watch old episodes of Silent Library than freaking ridiculousness.
Silent Library.
That's the OG right there.
That's a throwback. That was that was entertaining.
I love that show, man. Because like I would just bust out laughing. Like I'm trying to be quiet with them, and then like they all start laughing, and I'd start laughing, and then it's just like no.
It seemed like it was kind of like obviously the challenges, like some of the stuff they did on Silent Library was kind of nuts, obviously. But I thought like it wasn't like as hard as they made it out to be, and like to not like break like the sound,
Well, yeah, but I mean it's
more just comedy
too.
Yeah.
Like do they actually have a sound meter in there? Do they not? Like, yeah, there's that one on the television, but with Photoshop and editing nowadays, you can put anything on any screen at any point.
Right. So you, Zach, Ashley, and Frank are Battle of the Seasons team, San Diego. You're all obviously rookies. There was a decent amount of rookies on that season, but then you had some of your like vets, and I'd say you guys pretty much controlled the game from the get-go. How did you guys kind of rally the numbers and get most of the house on your side in the beginning?
Frank is really good at talking to people and getting people on our side and things like that. And because we had such a strong cast of rookies, I mean, I think vets-wise, we had Big Easy, we had Cara, we had Camilla. Wes. Danny.
Alton.
Yep, Alton. And then, but other than that, I mean, there was what, 8 teams of 4, so there's 32 of us, and less than half were vets. So the majority was rookies. So because we had so many people that either had never done a challenge before or had done one, but they were predominantly vets, we had a completely different demographic than what most challenges are. And you make alliances. You want to get those key players out because, like Big Easy, I love him to death. He's great. But you know what? We could have brought him and we could have brought him to a final and that would have been a layup. Like, he would have died halfway through, but at the same time, to have those vets around longer is a lot scarier than you think. Wes is an incredible human being as to how he manipulates people and gets in people's brains, but doesn't make it seem like manipulation. It's crazy. Like Frank yelled at me one night. We were out at the bar, and I was sitting in the corner. I was talking to Wes. I was like, "Yo, this guy's cool." And Frank told me, "I was like, don't, just don't. He's doing it." And I could see it from across the bar. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's just a nice guy. But it was to get him, to get in my brain. But that's what he does. And he does it well. And it's obviously is successful for him.
Right. Yeah, no, usually the norm on the challenge is rookies kind of get picked off, immediately. But that particular show, it was definitely, more new blood. So I personally felt it was a breath of fresh air, definitely a breakaway of what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, because, you guys are, as fans, you guys are used to seeing the same at least almost 10 people every challenge. And to get on this one and to have only one real,
pretty much. That's one, yeah.
Because, all the other ones definitely have been on, but, besides Cara, Camilla, and Wes, those were the only three that were consistent.
Yeah.
And it was a cool opportunity for us to be able to make our mark and still do it.
Right. So now we're going to move into the drama aspect of things. So these, there was obviously a lot of, confrontations and, fights on that season that still are prominently talked about, even now. So I'm going to ask you, talk to me a little bit about the plant situation fight with Marie when she kind of, we didn't get to see.
So it's so funny with that whole situation. If you rewatch the clip, she actually pushed Derek, and Derek fell on top of me, and then I went through the plant and busted my elbow open right here, and then I hit the corner of the stone pillar with the back right on the corner of the back of my skull.
Wow!
And so it was just crazy, but the way it happened so fast, I was mad, but at the same time, let her go off and let her be stupid. I love her to death. Her and I are friends now. We've squashed it. We laugh about it now, but it was just one of those things that, will never be forgotten. Sam versus Plant. If Instagram and Twitter was the meme, if the meme game was strong back in 2012 when all that went down on television, I can't imagine what the memes would say.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, the next season was actually Rivals too, and I know a lot of people were disappointed because they wanted you and Marie on as a pair. I personally, I would have vouched for it, but for whatever reason, I think she took a little bit of a break from the show and wasn't interested in doing it for a while. She had things going on, I think, and but
yeah, she had in her professional career that she was in at the time. She was actually up for a really decent promotion from what I understand, because her and I talked about it since. But yeah, it was kind of get this promotion and kind of propel your personal life, or take this chance and miss it, and then you're on TV again. And she took the professional development route, and I don't blame her for it. I think it was awesome, and I definitely wish I would have. Or she would have said yes, because they called me right away. I think I was home for maybe 6 months, and then they called me again, and I was like absolutely, because take me somewhere awesome and fly me there and let me travel for free. I'm in.
Yeah, no, I couldn't see too many people wanting to face you guys in elimination though.
But the big difference is that now I don't know if I would do another one now. Just because I'm older, I have a great job that I love, that I help people every day, and I just don't know if it's worth. I've got a perfect record. Why would I destroy that?
Yeah.
And nowadays the challenges are insanity. I thought the stuff that we did was hard. Half the stuff that I see now, I'm like, nah.
Yeah. Insane. Another fight that happened that actually today I was getting it retweeted to me on Twitter. A lot of people wanted me to bring this up to you. Um, this was actually involving one of your teammates, Frank and Dustin.
Oh, Frank and Dustin. So Frank, what I will tell you is when you put whatever an insane amount of money in front of somebody, it changes people. We went into this as the four of us from San Diego. We're like, okay, we're gonna work together. Zach and Ashley are gonna go into eliminations together. Frank and Sam are gonna go into eliminations together. We had it set up. Everything was good to go. We talked about it. We're all good. And then once you get into that house, the complete perspective changes. We didn't have AC. We didn't have hot water. The food that we had was mediocre at best. Then you put $250,000 in front of you, and your morals go out the window at that point because you just want to get to the point where you can get the money.
Yeah.
And it's so stressful in that house. I cannot explain to you enough of how stressful that house is. And I went to therapy when I got home because my brain, I was so emotionally and mentally fucked from it.
Mm-hmm.
And Frank he was a hothead at that point. He's gotten a lot better. But he had a hard time reining it in.
Yeah, I spoke with Frank actually earlier today. He told me mid to late June he wants to come on here, so that should be interesting.
Oh my God, that would be so awesome. I saw him a year ago. We went to Priscilla's wedding, and he apologized. And
oh wow!
He apologized for everything, and we talked, and that was the first time that I had seen him since the challenge reunion.
Oh wow!
A year ago. So I mean, that was 2019. The reunion was filmed in December of 12 for their challenge. So 7 years I had. I mean, we had Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Birthday, things like that, but didn't have really much of a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually super nervous about going out there for the wedding because I hadn't seen him in so long, and he has changed and grown up so much. I'm so proud of him, and it's awesome.
Right. So you and Zach were going into the Elimination Hall brawl. You obviously took care of your business, but Zach and CJ had what many would consider to be, I'd say, top 3 eliminations of all time of the challenge. So can you, from firsthand experience, talk to me a little bit about just how crazy and intense that really was?
Well, when we found out that we were going into elimination, because Zach and I went in to the first one, and I don't even remember what it was called, but anyways, that puzzle one with the water tank.
With the water, yeah, water
torture, yeah, that's what it was. And when we went into that, we had kind of decided that depending on which one it was next, if we were to go into another elimination, that Frank and Ashley would go in because that was only fair.
Yeah.
Well, when it was a physical challenge, Frank, not saying that Frank couldn't do it because he's a tank, but obviously the better pick was 6'4", 250-pound, football player that obviously he was made for this game, or so we thought. And when we're sitting there, and I went through and I beat Jasmine my 2 out of 3, and then Zach got beat. I was just kind of like, what just happened? Like CJ's Tom and Jerry him.
Yeah.
He CJ was the Roadrunner, and Zach was Wile E. Coyote. Like, he outsmarted him, and it was a physical challenge, but it wasn't. It was all about smarts, and that's when they flipped the coin, and it was a guy's elimination again. I told Zach, I was like, you have to jump over him. I was like, you literally have to hurdle him. That first time, hurdle him, because if not, he's going to beat you every time.
Right.
And he did it, and then that's when the game changed because CJ could no longer go low.
Right.
and he had to muscle his way through, and I was scared. I'm not gonna lie, like I was nervous. I was like, I'm not gonna go through all the shit that we've been through just to go home on a physical challenge where you can't win. Like I finished my end of the bargain. I'm good.
Yeah. That's got to be one of the most insane feats of athleticism, though. In a tiny hallway like that, like you're that big and you hurdle over another man, that's just.
Well, yeah, because you had to be careful because there were bars at the top, like metal bars that were they held the structure together so it wouldn't fall apart to the side.
Right.
So, and I mean, it's like 1/4-inch square steel. Like it's not just like a rebar or a piece of 2x4 or something holding like. And Zach's already tall, so when he jumps, you can literally see him tuck his head and launch through.
Yeah.
And obviously Hall Brawl we were the first ones to do it. And then our season was, and then it's been back. I mean, I don't even know how many times it's been back.
Yeah, they did it the next 3 seasons after that, and then they brought it back, I think, on 30-30, and now they've done it the last 3 seasons. And I've seen on the trailer for this season, it's back again, so there you go.
Oh, yeah. Well, because it's one of those things that, you get a good show, it's a good physical battle, and hopefully nobody gets hurt.
Yeah. So, how difficult was that final?
That was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And there's so much time that, that goes into it. Because, we got up at, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning that morning. And we started. And we ran that whole first day. I don't even remember the order it was in. But when we did all of that, I literally, to this day, will not run on the beach. I will. If there's people are like, let's go see the sand dunes down at Wrightsville Beach in North Carolina, which is only 45 minutes from me. I'm like, y'all can go. I'm gonna sit at the house because I ain't doing sand dunes. Won't do it. Won't do sand dunes. I don't know. It's traumatic, man.
Yeah.
And it was 24. So it was 24 hours. I'd say probably close to 30, 34 hours that we were out there with very little sleep.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Zach's name's actually come up a lot on my podcast. I had Trey was actually my first challenge guest, and they were Rivals partners on Rivals too. Zach's name's come up pretty frequently. So obviously you knowing him better than probably most of the guests. What is Zach like behind the scenes, at least from with you?
He's so sweet. I love him so much. He actually came here. I don't remember if it was after the Real World or after the challenge, but he came here and spent a couple of days with me and my family here, and we did a bar appearance, and we went to a Sugarland concert. But he's super awesome. He's changed a lot too. From him being on the Real World and him in his bigoted small town mind, to where he is now. He's a lot better. Conversations that happen off screen when you're not stressed out, even from the Real World, help change things, and it makes a big difference, and I mean, from our Real World season to the challenge that we did together, you can see a tenfold difference of his attitude towards life.
Right.
He's a lot happier. He was very, open to a lot of other things, and with the Real World, he was very, him and Ashley's relationship was out in the open, but very closed doors when it came to intimacy, because he just wasn't accustomed to it. I mean, nobody should be accustomed to PDA on camera. It's just a normal thing. But, with him and John A., they were a lot more open about what was going on. And, obviously we've seen him with Jenna and how they are on the shows. And, he's come a very long way. And, he and I talked about, the stuff that he had said to me while we were running that final. But like I said, I'm not making excuses or justifying it. But at the same time, when you put $250,000 or however much prize money in front of somebody, all bets are off, man.
Yeah, no doubt. So I've read that it was Invasion of the Champions. I've read that you and Derek Kaczynski were alternates and flown out to, I think it was Thailand.
So I actually never got flown out.
Okay, but Derek I think did though.
I think Derek did. But the main thing of that was I was already casted. I was 100% going. Everything was signed, sealed, delivered. I signed my contract. I got the dates. I got every email. And Ashley Kelsey called me. And she's like, hey, I just listened to my voicemail from like 3 weeks ago, and the challenge called me, and they wanted to know if I was available. Should I say yes? And I was like, screw it. Yeah, say yes. Dave. She went. I didn't. Game over.
Wow. It's crazy how things work.
It is, but at the same time, like, I don't know what would have happened.
Actually, what would have happened was the champions ended up going against each other, and Ashley in that first elimination ended up going against Cara Maria in that pole wrestle. So the odds are that would have been, you.
That would have been so much fun. Oh my God. I never got to go against Cara Maria because Cara Maria wasn't there very long with us. I mean, I don't even know.
Yeah, I think it was like episode 3 or 4 or something.
Yeah. Well, and the super crazy part is that from our Battle of the Seasons season, it was Real World Sydney that was there. Like Isaac, Ashley, Kellyanne,
and Dunbar, I believe.
Dunbar all flew out with us. Like they were with us the whole time. Like from the time we sat for like 10 hours waiting for like production to start and things like that. And we were sitting outside of the arena, and all of a sudden some of the producers come by and they're like, okay, Real World Sydney, you need to come with us. And we're like, okay, like, all right, this is probably for like the show, and like they're gonna surprise us later and like bring them back in at some point. When we got back to the house at night, all their shit was gone. Suitcases, everything. And we were like, what is going on? Like, this is super weird, And then when we got to the first challenge, the Don't Cross Me challenge, and Fresh Meat showed up, we were mind blown. We had no idea. And if you look at their shirts, there's like tape over them, and they're like ironed on things. Like clearly they were not prepared to bring that team out because they thought everything was good to go. But apparently somebody's physical came back with something, from what I understand. But yeah, that was crazy.
I'm sure you're aware. Derek does his podcast, the Challenge Mania. Isaac went on that a few months ago and said that they had kept them in a room, and then they told him that the lawyers from New York told him that it was his physical, right? Or he had a condition. So then he went and saw the doctor, and the doctor told him that they never said that. So he said still to this day, they have no clue.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, here's the way my brain works. I don't know if you've seen the contracts that we have to sign, but they're like this thick, single spaced, only on the front, like legal shit. And the only thing that I could think of is maybe somebody leaked something about something, or when they take all your electronics, somebody got something out to somebody of where we're going, or who's there and whatnot. And I mean, that's kind of what I think, because they take that shit seriously. Like, there's a fine list that I've seen, and I'm just like, yo, that shit's nuts. Like,
yeah. I mean, I actually had a theory. I mean, I don't know how likely this is, but I definitely wouldn't put it past MTV if because obviously Camilla, who technically wasn't even on a fresh meat season. She did like a spring break challenge.
Yep.
My theory is that they just wanted to get her to come on the season. You know, we'll never know, but that's my
It could have been, but that was the wrong season for Camilla. Like, I don't think that season fit her very well. I think that if Cara Maria had better, I'm not saying that Brandon's a great competitor, but if Cara Maria had a better fourth option of a male competitor other than Easy, I really think that they could have gone far. Cara's a great challenger. You know, her political game necessarily isn't the greatest, but at the same time, when it comes down to physical and, you know, just power, she's a fucking racehorse. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely could have had, like, you know, plenty of other options other than, like, I think what they did was kind of just, you know, had to scramble last minute. Those were the four that were most, you know, available at that time. And there's not much you can really do when your supposed team is, you know, flying home last second. You need to pull a team in ready for a challenge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that, yeah, what you said about Camilla not really fitting that season, because Team Sydney, I mean, most of those people that were, you know, there, I think they definitely fit, you know, the kind of theme of what was going on that season. Of people that weren't really mainstays. You know what I mean? I that would have been interesting to see, because
I think so too.
I mean, Dunbar. Yeah, I don't know how politically that would have shaken out, because, you know, Dunbar had already won a season. Kellyanne had been to a final, so I mean, I don't know if they would have been on your end of the thick or with Wes and those guys.
I don't know. When we were in the airport, I spent quite a bit of time with Kellyanne and just hanging out with her and talking to her and stuff. And, you know, I mean, she was super cool. And then I think it's crazy that Zach ended up dating Ashley years later.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just, it was just a weird thing that I never saw coming.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Zach ended up dating the Ashley from
Sydney? Ashley, was her last name Feldman or whatever it is?
Oh, no. I think that was from New Orleans.
Is she New Orleans?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then who was
Trey
the
said that too. It was Ashley Robson.
Is it? I don't know. Your guess is
the girl from Sydney's name was Ashley. Yeah, but
they weren't there long enough for me to remember. We took a flight with them, and that was about it.
Yeah. So this question obviously always comes up frequently with people we haven't seen in a while. They always want to know, how recent have you been called or had the opportunity to come back? So now I'm going to ask you.
So the last one that I got called for was Invasion. So for season 30, that was when I was looking for the
17.
Skype invite. Yeah, I got the call sometime like October 2016 when they started phone calls and stuff. So that was the last call that I got, and I don't know, man. Life's just different now. Had I stayed in it and stayed a consistent face, maybe I'd be, you know, I don't know where I would be.
Yeah. Do you still watch it though?
I actually don't have cable, so I catch like the recaps on Instagram when they do the Instagram TV thing. I'll watch those, but other than that, like, I don't really keep up with it. I haven't kept up with it in years. I think I watched a little bit of Invasion of the Champions, but the format was weird. I watched a little bit of Free Agents because I thought that one was cool, how like it was a different concept and it wasn't, you know, 8 teams of 4 or 2 teams of, you know, 10 or whatever it was. You know, the process was different than that. I thought that was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I haven't really watched much, and it's not due to the fact that I don't want to. I don't have the means to. You know.
Yeah.
If it came back on Hulu like it used to be on Hulu, then we would all be okay here. But
Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get it on. Was it Netflix? I don't know. We need to get back though because I'd go back and rewatch them.
Yeah, no doubt. So, kind of like a last question now. What have you been up to since we last seen you?
So since you guys last seen me, that was 2012, a long time ago now. I've had quite a few different jobs since then. I was with a girl for about 4.5 years after I left, or after I did the Real World San Diego. Her and I have since obviously broken up. Been kind of off and on single like the whole time as far as relationships go. But I work for Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield now, so I work in the healthcare industry, but I work in the Medicaid division. And so that's what I meant earlier about help. I get to help people every day that, especially in this time that we're going through right now with the coronavirus and everything, there's a lot of people out there that need the help. And for me to be able to, help out with their healthcare system and make it better and easier for them to have access is a really cool thing that, I've been able to do for the past about 1.5 years now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it was a pleasure getting to speak with you and have you on today.
Yeah, it was nice meeting you. And I when you have Frank on, tell him I said hello.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Nate too from your season.
Shut up! I was supposed to go down to see him next weekend.
Too. You got to get on him. He agreed to do it, but then he's kind of been ghosting me lately. So.
He had a new phone number.
Yeah, you need to get on this. Yeah, I was actually talking on Facebook. That's
Well, I'll get on his ass. I've seen him more times since I've seen anybody out of my Real World cast members. Well, his brother lives an hour from me.
Wow.
So he's up here all the time. He and I have spent holidays, birthdays, Christmases, New Year's, so many things together over the past next June will be 10 years since we've done it.
Wow.
And if you would have told me that I would have had spent the most time with him, I would have said you were crazy. But he's awesome. And I'll get on his ass for you.
Thank you. Well, hope you're taking care and staying safe during this. And thank you for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks, bud. Appreciate it.
Peace out.
See you.